Welcome to our first podcast. I've got Mr. Rahman Mansoor here with me. How's it going, Rahman?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How's everything with you?
Very good, very good. Thanks for joining me on my first podcast.
I'm more than welcome. Thanks for having me as the first guest.
You are the guest of honor, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if that was the greatest idea and choice from your side. We'll know by the end, but let's see how this goes.
We'll see how this goes for sure. Yes,
Yeah.
but no, I'm very glad that you're on this with me, and thanks for just doing it. I know it was a little difficult in terms of getting things started for us, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that we did.
Yeah.
So let's just start off. Tell me about yourself, your company. I can see at the back your logo, which is really nice. There you go.
Yes.
So tell me, this is your floor. Give me the plug.
Oh well, as most people are always curious of how we started, how anyone starts. Pretty much just like everyone else. I had a friend who was getting married. He had an engagement function. He asked me if I can shoot it, and you know me quite well, and you know if I do something, I do it well. Like I learn it and I know how to do it. And so
Absolutely.
I went and I like studied as much as possible. And then I went and bought a nice camera and then I shot the wedding. It was just an engagement shoot, so it wasn't even a wedding, so nothing big. But I shot it, and he posted quite a few pictures online, and people started reaching out. And I was not doing weddings at that time. I just liked doing landscape, and I've been doing landscape for quite some time. I just like going places, taking pictures, not posting them just for myself. I just like doing pictures. That's all. Just an excuse to go somewhere unique and take pictures. So that happened, and people started reaching out. And at first, I was like, you know what? No, I don't do this professionally. I've only done one event. I told them, I'm like, no, it's okay. We just, if you could do it, it's a small event.
Right.
And then I was in another lens, I believe, and I did that. And they posted pictures. Just social media nowadays, it just exploded. I started posting online too afterwards, and literally overnight, I don't know what happened, but I became a wedding photographer. And I started deleting all of my old posts on Instagram. I'm like, okay, time to get rid of this. And I posted a few pictures. Then I got married. I got so busy that I stopped posting images.
So you started photography before you got married?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously your name RNA
Yes,
is with you and your wife.
that's right. It used to be Luminous Studios actually before.
Right.
Inspired by Harry Potter, obviously, but you can guess by the name.
So you're a big Harry Potter fan?
Oh yeah. Big Harry Potter fan. Not as
we'll
big
talk
as
about that
people.
after, I guess.
Yeah, not as
we'll
big
leave
as
that for
some
another
people.
day.
Yeah. So I chose Luminous Studios and getting emails. And someone was inquiring for Ray, and I thought maybe they don't know how to say them out, so they're just calling me Ray. So I replied back. I was like, "Which wedding did we meet at?" And he said a couple's name. I'm like, "I don't recall that wedding." And then I found out there's another wedding photography studio called Luminous Weddings in Toronto. And if anyone would search from Sasaga, their website would show up first before mine, because I'm all the way in Oshawa. So they were forwarding me my emails. I was forwarding them their emails, and then I decided, you know what, maybe it's time that I change my email before my business name before it becomes too big and too hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we decided to change the name, and we searched for a million names. It's so hard to find a company name. So people who have unique names out there, congrats, you've done it. That's the biggest thing you can do to create a unique name. It's impossible.
Especially in photography.
Yes, there are so many people. So many.
I mean, how much can you do? Aperture this, lens that.
Yeah, ISO this, right?
Yeah, shutter this.
Pink shutter, yellow shutter,
blue
shutter,
that, right? Miss that, this, that.
Put animal names in there, clinic photography, right? Line photography. There's so many names. So we just decided to stick to RNA photography. And I still to this day I miss the original name. Like I love that name. But it is what it is. Now I'm here with RNA, and that's what I'm known for now.
So obviously Rahman and Anam
Yes,
is the name of the company.
that's right. Yes.
How did Anam get into photography, or was she already into photography before you met
No,
her?
she was not. No, she was not.
Okay.
She, she had a camera that she never used. She got it as a gift. It was packed. She never used it.
Okay. Like a
It was
DSLR.
graduation. Yeah, a DSLR. Yeah, she got a DSLR for her graduation from university,
Uh-huh.
and she never used it.
Okay.
That's her experience in photography.
So you pushed her into photography.
No, I asked him like, "Do you want to do it? Do you want to come with me and watch?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll come." And she really liked it. And I'm like, "Why don't you start posing people?" And then, as you know, and it's a fact, like, some girls are a lot better than posing
Yeah.
than guys are, right?
Yeah.
Especially because they can go and touch the bride, right? They can pose them, and yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm
In
not
our
gonna go touch
community,
her. Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
make
mean
them feel
that's a
uncomfortable.
fact. You're right. I agree with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't want to make the bride feel uncomfortable. The
Yes.
grooms are easy to pose. Brides, there's the dress, there's the butta, there's so many things
And
that need
we
to be touched
do
up.
90% Muslim weddings.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So yeah, that kind of stuff I understand.
Yeah.
You usually, like, I mean, I have always got somebody to help, like her sister, the bride's sister, our bridesmaid, her friend, whatever, right? To pose and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I most of the time ask the groom. I'm like, do this, do this. Can you fix this? Can you fix the hair
Yeah.
from here?
Yeah.
With Anam, it's a lot easier. It's a lot faster too. It's like as you know, weddings you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
You got to shoot, and move on. So it made life a lot easier. And then I trained her on the camera, and I think there was a point before we had our second baby that she got better than me, and which was
I'll agree with
considered.
that.
So she had the second baby. Now she's like off and not shooting. So
No.
I'm safe again.
So on that note, a very hearty congratulations.
Thank you,
You
thank
just
you.
had your second baby, and I
I
know
did,
that.
yes, yes.
I mean, a lot of people, I guess, don't know that we're neighbors.
No, they don't. No.
So we are good friends. We're neighbors. We live, in the same area. So, you had a baby. You've been very busy. How's
Yeah.
that going?
So actually, it's been the last entire like last year we um I think shot the most weddings we ever did while Anna was expecting, and in midst of that, we somehow decided to sell our house. I don't know why. It was just a fluke. We thought of it. We found a house, so we decided to sell our house. And then I obviously, as you know me, I wanted to do some work in the house.
Yeah, and
I
I saw
started
you
to
do a
do
lot of
that.
work. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Anna was expecting, so I didn't ask her to come and help out. So I tried doing as much as possible. And I was just joking around with Anam that I should quit my full-time job and go somewhere else. I got a call from someone from Ottawa actually for a job at the Bank of Canada, and they said, "You want to come and join?" And I said, "No." I didn't even continue. They called me back several times, and at one point, my father-in-law was like, "You know what? Maybe do it. Just see what happens. You wanted to change, do it." So I said, "Okay, I'll do it." So literally, the day I finished most of the construction at the house and finished up cleaning, we packed our stuff and we went to Ottawa for 2 months.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
yeah, and then home from that point forward. And Zayn was born during COVID in May, and we were gonna pause our wedding anyways till mid June, I believe. Yeah, mid June, July, we were gonna pause our wedding, so we weren't gonna shoot, or I was gonna shoot alone. And then COVID happened. We're like, maybe we'll just put a pause on everything because we don't want to take a risk with the kid.
Yeah.
And luckily, most of our clients moved their weddings to next year. The ones that really wanted to do this year, we either give them the deposit back, we refer them to other photographers. And yeah, so we haven't. I only shot I think one wedding this year, two or three engagement shoots, only because they asked over and over again for me to come, and they kept pushing me out. Fine, I'll come. And that's when the cases were really low, when they were like at 200 number.
Yeah.
That's when I went, and then they started rising again, and I stopped again now. So I've only I think only 2 3 max weddings this year, which is fine. Luckily, I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I've left
Alhamdulillah.
with that. There's a lot of photographers I know out there that are doing this full time, and it is quite tough for them.
Yeah, it's been a pretty sad year.
Yeah,
So that,
yeah, it has. I mean, I tell my wife, I'm like, especially you've seen me at weddings. I've shot a wedding for you. Only you, as you know, I don't do second shooting except for Harris. Um,
I appreciate that.
yeah, no, of course, of course. You're the only one who has rights to that. Call me. Um, and you see me shoot. I socialize at weddings. I don't get time to socialize otherwise. Weddings is when I socialize. I have fun. I meet the family. I become part of the family, and I have fun. I love
Yeah,
shooting weddings more than I actually. It since the beginning. Money wasn't the biggest thing. I never really. It didn't, with full time job, it really didn't matter with me how much I was making. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I loved meeting families. I loved becoming part of the family
I
and
think
becoming a part of the
one of
business.
the reasons why we connected so well
Yeah,
and we became good friends is because that is a one similarity that you have with me. I
yeah,
do weddings because I enjoy them
yeah,
and I meet new people, I meet new families. I love seeing new family dynamics, right? Just
yeah,
part of that and just going, initially really going as a stranger and meeting this complete new Khandan, right?
yes, yeah,
Um, that really, really gets my creative juices going, as you can say. So I love that, and I think that's the thing that you and I have in common for sure.
yeah. We have a lot of things in common.
Well, that's one of the big ones.
Yeah,
Um, I work full time as well. I have a job, alhamdulillah. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm lucky as well, that COVID hasn't affected me personally
yeah,
as much as it's affected a lot of my other friends that I've known in photography.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I've seen a lot of people basically I've had to draw up their prices just to get the business, right? Uh,
yeah. I've seen. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which is, you know, in this situation is very understandable.
it is.
I
Yeah,
get
it
that.
is. I mean, yeah. Obviously, if everyone's budget that had a budget of $50,000 to $100,000, now their budget is $10,000. Um, obviously, they're not going to spend all of that on photography, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, a lot of people's
understandable.
pockets were affected
Yeah,
financially with the pandemic. So, that's been a very, very hard thing to discuss with, brides and grooms who are just about to
yeah,
get married and they're
yeah,
starting a new life. And their biggest hurdle in doing that is their finances. So it's been sad.
yeah.
It's been sad to see that.
Yeah, no, it really has. Like I've seen our photographers, videographers that I'm friends with. I've seen them suffer, and I've referred as many clients to them as possible. But even their budgets have dropped so much that even they question, is it worth it for us to go and spend that much amount of time? Because at the end of the time, it's not. What people don't understand is it's not just the 5, 6, 10, 12 hours that a photographer will take. It's the time it takes editing afterwards too, right?
Yeah,
The
100%.
equipment, the cost of the equipment, the investment they put into the equipment, the amount of hours they've taken to learn all of this, right, to get to where they are today. It's all of that, and to take such a big cut in pay, it's not definitely not easy for them, for sure, and especially if that's the bread and butter, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing because a lot of these photographers rely on this income.
Yes.
And so it is sad. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I like I said, I have friends who are, kind of were doing full-time photography or are
Hmm.
still doing full-time photography, and the shutdown and the lockdown and everything kind of going backwards now, especially, um is being are they're being affected the second time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough. And that's a lot of people don't understand that. Like, I mean, people think that photography is a hobbyist
Yeah.
career, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, I'm just trying to put it in words that your equipment cost, your post processing cost, if you're hiring other photographers, second photographers, whatever the case is,
Hmm.
you know, you've got a lot of costs, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, it's tough.
yeah. The time, like just it doesn't matter if it's a 2 hours, 3 hours wedding. Your whole day is gone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Preparing for that day, you'll have to charge your equipment. It doesn't matter if it's 5 hours wedding or 2 hours wedding. It'll take you the entire day
yeah,
to prepare for that. People don't understand that either, right? I've shot small weddings, and it's taken me the same amount of time.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It
No, no,
doesn't
I
make a
agree with you
difference.
100%. Like even with like smaller shoots, like couple
Oh
shoots,
yeah, oh yeah. Small
e-shoots
shoot,
and stuff like that,
yeah,
you
yeah,
have an e-shoot in the middle of the day. So for example, a client books an e-shoot from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 5 to 7.
yeah,
To prepare for that, you're right. It takes the whole day, the travel
yeah,
time to get to the place, and then taking your shots and then coming back home and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. 4 or 5 hours, you're done,
Yeah, you can't
right?
like you have to set that whole day aside for that moment. You have to make sure your
Yeah,
family is either um it's like we have kids, so I make sure I drop my wife off at her parents before I
yeah,
leave. Right, so I have to prepare for that. She has to pack, get everything ready. We have to go there.
yeah,
Right, I have to get my equipment charged and everything ready, and then I go from me. It's not just me that's getting impacted; it's obviously my family as well.
yeah. And I
Right,
have a few kids of my own,
yeah,
like a couple.
a couple, yeah,
So that's true. You take away the time that you can spend with them. It is a weekend.
yeah,
Most of the stuff happens on the weekend.
exactly, yeah.
So that's yeah, it's one of those things that come with a job, right?
It does, yeah, and
It's our
that's why,
passion.
yeah. I mean, that's what we were also doing photo booths, and just like you were doing event decor, right?
Yeah.
Um, it was taking up so much of our time. We did 70 events last year. We had the only day we had off was Eid last year. So that's what pushed us like, no, that's it. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to cut down on everything and just do a few weddings and that's it. Stick to that, right? Because we had no family time. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't plan anything properly. You
Yeah.
can't go away for more than a week because you have wedding. Every
I'm
Friday,
telling you, a
Saturday,
couple of
Sunday.
years when I was in the wedding decor business,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people know that I was. And then I was also doing photography.
Yeah.
Those years, um, I mean, alhamdulillah, I loved what I was doing,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it took a lot out of me, right?
Yeah.
So family time and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's not something that I deeply regret, but at the same time, like, it was valuable time that I could have spent, with my kids and
Yeah.
my family and stuff like that. But and I tried doing that, like I was doing wedding decor. I would take my kids with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So uh, at with that, I guess it was okay.
You're meeting photographers. You're taking your whole family.
That's a good one. Yeah, yeah,
That's. I think that's when I knew I liked you a lot. I'm like, this man
yeah.
is just. I like him.
I mean,
The ability.
my family is my family, right?
Yeah.
So the first time I met you was when I brought my family to your house,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So I and we figured out that we were in the same area,
Yeah.
and we
Just.
met
I think.
we met through
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yes.
right? We just messaged each other.
Just like any other love story these days. Yes.
And what did you say? You said come over for chai.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, you know what? My family's here. My kids are here. You mind if I bring them? And you said, no problem. I
Yeah.
said,
I'm like,
okay,
oh,
I'm coming in 10 minutes.
my son, I have someone to play with.
Yeah. So I brought everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I told my wife, I'm like, we're too far away from Harris. I think we are 1 kilometers away. We need to move it closer. And then we decided to move 500 meters away from your house.
Now we're literally 4 or 5 houses down from each other,
Yeah. You can see my house from your window.
from my backyard or my
Yeah.
window. Yes, I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm grateful for that. So because I love having friends around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wherever I've lived, I've always had neighborhood with friends and family and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's always good to have your close people around you,
it is. It
right?
really is.
Your family is close by as well,
Yes,
right?
yeah, they are. My wife's family lives literally just down the street, as well. They want to move closer to, so let's see.
Yeah.
I like those. Yeah,
Okay, I have
you're
another
awesome.
question for you. Um,
Yeah.
what was your first camera that you ever used as a
Nik-
photographer?
Nikon D650.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I the first camera. That's the first engagement shoot I shot, and I went and I got a full frame camera.
very nice.
And I used I think it was the kit lens, which wasn't the greatest idea.
Like the 17 to 55 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever comes with it, which wasn't the greatest idea. That's the lens that I use,
But
and
I mean,
that's why the
I
first.
started like that too. I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
with a Canon Rebel series. I think it was a
Hmm.
T3i,
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
I have the equivalent of that as well. The
Yeah,
Nikon 3400 or 3500.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I started off with that. But I was in photography since I was in high school. So I always had a passion for photography. I was in grade 10 or 11
Hmm.
when I first bought my first camera. And it wasn't a DSLR at that time, it was a point and shoot. And
Oh yeah.
I remember the first camera I bought was an Olympus point and shoot camera.
Hmm.
Coincidentally, I was stupid and young. I bought the camera. It was very expensive at the time. I think I don't even know how I saved the money for it. I'm sure I asked
Yeah.
my dad. It was like $600-700. Bought the camera. You know, I loved it. I was taking pictures of everybody in high school, like everybody. Like
Hmm.
I would have random people
Yeah.
just stop in the middle of a hallway and be like, "Oh, take my picture." So I was doing that. I still have those pictures from.
Wow.
I still do. I don't want to show it, but I still have them. So um, I went to Wonderland with my friends one day,
Oh wow. Oh no.
and I was sitting on a bench. I left the camera on a bench. We kind of picked ourselves up and we left. So I lost the camera.
Oh no.
When I lost that camera, it gave me the opportunity to buy a little bit more, kind of professional. So I
Yeah,
went in
yeah.
and bought the T3i Canon.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, for starters, I think for anyone starting off, I think Canons are the way to go. Honestly, price wise, definitely. Even like work wise, if you're not sure if you want to do photography, videography, I think Canon is always the way to go.
I mean, I
Nikon
don't
are not
really
that great.
have a preference for a
Yeah.
brand rather than the brand of the camera, like Canon, Sony, Nikon, whatever the case is. I don't really have a preference. I care more about the technology
Mhm.
that I'm using. They all do the same.
Yeah,
Um,
as long as you know what you're doing. Yeah.
yeah, and even with difference in color profiles and all that kind of stuff, we change that in post anyways.
Yes.
We edit to our liking,
Yeah.
and we have our style that we edit to. So a lot of photographers say, I don't like Sony colors, I don't like Nikon colors, I only love Canon colors. Sure, I mean that is something that Canon has an advantage in.
Yes.
But at the same time, if you've got a style that you're editing to, it doesn't matter,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's right.
So I switched from Canon to Sony now, right? I used to shoot Canon. I had a 5D Mark III,
Yes.
and I last year I switched to Sony.
Mhm.
And again, like I said, I'm more about the technology, so it's made my shooting a lot easier in terms of autofocus and eye autofocus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of features in there that help me do what I do in terms of the run and gun weddings that we have. You know, our brown weddings are like always on the go, right? Nothing
Yeah.
goes according to plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're always on your feet. So that helps me, right? So if I
Yeah.
need to pick up the camera and shoot right away, without worrying about, focusing and stuff, and
Hmm.
just worry about composition. That's what I do. That's the best thing. And I know
Yeah.
you also got into mirrorless, right? With the
Oh,
Nikon.
then a Canon, yes. And same thing. I the full of focus. I did notice quite a bit difference. It's a lot lighter for sure.
Yeah,
Body's a lot smaller. It's a lot lighter. It makes a
yeah,
big difference, especially
yeah,
the 70-200 which is right here. Right
yep,
there.
yep, yep.
It makes a big difference.
It does.
At the end of the day, you'll notice that. The older I'm getting,
Yeah,
uh, I start noticing things. So it makes a big difference. I like actually I actually like it quite a bit, more than I expected. I bought it because I needed a new camera, so I might as well get the newest and the latest.
yeah.
And I love it.
And the thing is, the future move of companies is also into mirrorless.
It is, yes.
Canon will not introduce another DSLR.
They won't know, but they will not deny it at the moment either. They're going to discontinue it because they don't want that market to just die
Yeah,
overnight. They have all of
yeah,
those cameras
yeah.
and
But I
lenses, right?
but I will tell you that they, like, for example, they will not announce another 5D Mark V. They've got the Mark IV, but
Yes,
Mark V is not going to come. That's where
that's
you
right.
have your R5, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Canon R5, and I'm sure the same with Sony and
like
well,
yeah,
Sony is
like
obviously, in the mirrorless. They're dominating the mirrorless
they
industry
are.
right now.
Yes, they are definitely. There's no doubt.
So yeah. So that being said, I don't have a preference for any brand. In fact, I'm now looking to switch back into Canon,
Hmm.
right? Especially after they introduced the new R5 and R6.
Yeah,
They look to be very competitive with what Sony's got going on right now. In fact, better in some terms.
yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, personally speaking, if I had to start from the beginning again, I had to choose my camera from scratch. I would either go with a Canon or a Sony as well. Canon because it's something you can do both photo and video. Nikon is not known for video. It's
yeah.
horrible at it. It's horrible at it. And it's not like that I shoot weddings, videography. I don't do that. But for personal reasons, I want it. I want to
It
have
it
that
it, li- it
flexibility.
limits you.
It does.
It limits you.
And
So let's just say, who knows, you want to do video, right?
yeah,
In the future, you would have to kind of think about what you have at that point, right? So,
yeah.
of
And I'm
course.
out shooting weddings with other photographers, videographers, and their battery is low. I'm like Canon, Juma, and Nikon, which is no use to you. So it's
Yeah,
it's nice to have the same equipment that you other fellow photographer or videographer has.
yeah.
It makes their life easier, your life easier, and you
It
can
makes
get
our,
them.
and it makes your
Yeah,
life easier in the sense that
exactly.
if you are editing someone else's work, for example, somebody
Yeah.
shoots video for you,
Yes.
and it's shot in the same technology that you use, you already are familiar with it,
Yes, that's right.
so you can edit it a little bit better, and it cuts down some time. So yeah,
That's
definitely
right. Yeah.
understand that. So Rahman, tell me, anything that you have to add, or any questions for me that you have?
No. Not at this moment. Not at like what midnight.
we, we are at midnight. Nobody would know that.
Yeah, right. What time is it? It's 11. Yeah, close to midnight.
Yeah,
People can't tell. It's pitch
yeah.
dark outside right now. For those who can't see, it's literally
Yeah.
dark outside at the
And I
moment.
love your office. So give me a little tour of, or
Okay,
if you can,
sure.
whatever. Like, you can
Um,
just show things around.
I just finished it recently. Everything is IKEA. Everything is copied off YouTube. Nothing on my own. No creativity put it on myself. It's all IKEA and YouTube. This is the IKEA Billy bookcase, which I still have to like put some greenery on it.
Nice.
It's too dark and depressing at the moment. It's too black and white. All my flashes, they don't stay here. They're always normally in the suitcase packed up.
Yeah.
But I'm not shooting, so I had empty
Yeah.
space. I put it out. I
Nice.
have the best, I think, monitor. I love this monitor for editing, for work, for
It
everything. It's
looks like a
functioning.
very nice monitor.
It is. It's a 44-inch ultra wide monitor. I have on the bottom over here that big bar that you see. That's a sound bar
Yeah.
that I'm using. I had it for the TV downstairs, but the TV is way too big to match with that, so I just brought it up here. I have a few laptops here. There's a MacBook. There's a ThinkVision. There's another ThinkVision on the table. There's another few in the top. You know how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Way too many computers, way more than I need. There's one behind me over here. And on this side, I have albums, photo booth albums that we were gonna give out, and then places we went to. At the bottom over here, you can see our guest USB box. We give them a USB, some images, and a few printed images and a USB in that. That's a glass box that we give, and yeah, that's pretty much the office. Some lights, obviously, why not? And the best part, the balcony. The reason why I bought the house.
Yes.
The balcony. This is where me, Harris, hang out. Ever want to join us?
We definitely do. Yeah, and I love that balcony, especially in the summer because we've got a kind of ravine lot in front of it. It's really nice to sit and just enjoy whatever we enjoy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have a tour to give for my office. I work out of my basement.
Right, yeah.
I've got my table, I bought this from Costco. It's just an L-shaped table. Yeah, I just some basic stuff. I don't really have a fancy looking one like yours, so it's
trust me, it's not fancy. It's
fancier
it's
than
not
mine.
even a table. I'll tell you, for people that think this is a table, this is actually a kitchen countertop right here.
Yeah.
That's what this is, right there. That's a kitchen countertop. That's all this is. It's not even a table.
Yeah, no, but
So
it looks very nice.
Over here, feel free to come and cook.
No, but you made it look very nice, so it is definitely pleasing to the eye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, I think we've hit our time limit now.
Yes.
I wanted to keep these things for about 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
It maybe eventually go a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. We'll see how people react to it, right? So as this is the first episode, I've made a lot of friends in the industry. So I wanted to reach out to everybody and see how everybody's doing in these times. Just talk about whatever you go through on a daily basis as a photographer, your challenges and stuff like that. So obviously I have a lot more for you, and I'd like to have you back on again.
Of course.
Anytime you want. You are
just down the street.
You are my first.
Yeah.
So let's not make it your last. So I'll ask you to come on whenever I ask you to come on. And we'll continue this again.
That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you again for having me as well as having you on my show. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in a bit.
All right. See you in a bit.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.